flying out straight.
Rogue agent.
Oh, you done. Yeah, got them off the cover.
Rogue hive detected.
What's up? You better run.
System malfunctioning. System restored.
Down, boy.
Detected.
Still got you. Give me up. Give me up. Give me up. Get off cover. Y'all separated now, huh?
Rogue agent neutralized.
Come on, man. You finna get bodied. Don't play.
Vital signs critical.
Don't come in here. Sit down, boy.
Nearby rogue agent killed.
Give me that man her bomb.
Contaminated gear.
You ain't doing nothing, boy.
Agent neutralized. Landmark engaged.
Man down, right here.
Don't going out.
They're trying to get past.
Oh my god. This weapon is amazing.
They're gonna flank us.
Detecting additional hostile contacts.
I heard her.
Hey, what's up fam? Identity here, and it was very hard for me to hold off uploading this build, the hybrid I've been waiting for from the beginning, and it's only made possible with the new capacitor. I made a skill build with it already, but now it's time to show you what it can really do as a hybrid. Special operations, aka Spec Ops, are military activities conducted by specially designated, organized, selected, trained, and equipped forces using unconventional techniques and modes of employment, which entails everything you need to dismantle all different kinds of builds. Let me just say, this build is very good in PvE missions, but it shines most in the DZ, so let's not waste any more time. Alright, do I have a special build for y'all? I told you I was gonna go in on this patch, mainly because it's the dawn of the hybrids like I said before, but this build is special, a remnants of a couple builds I made back in the day, the Disruptor, the Infiltrator. I was always trying to find a way that I can make a build similar to it, and this has to be the best hybrid I've made to date, and you're about to see why. Now I just made a video talking about the capacitor, and it was basically a weapon showcase. It was a short video. The link is right here if you want to check it out. But what I was describing was how this is the only AR in the game, the only AR that was released that gives you the capability to have 12% damage to armor on it as a stat, right? Because normally ARs have health damage as their second attribute, 20%, which means it was definitely made for your skills and made for hybrids or made for a DPS build to shred armor. So I'm using technician specialization, and the reason I'm using technician specialization is because it grants you extra damage to robotics, skill proxies, and everything you need to fight against Black Tusk and just shred through those enemy types. So it really helps with chungas as well, and it helps to finish off enemies that have health after you destroy their armor, right? So the primary I'm using is a capacitor, and if you don't know what this does already, the capacitor gives you stacks when you shoot an enemy, all right, up to 40. Now this gives you 60% skill damage, and as long as you're shooting an enemy, it never goes away. And for each skill tier you have, it gives you 7.5% weapon damage. So for me, I have 3 skill tiers, which means I'm getting 22.5% extra weapon damage with the capacitor. And there's something else about this capacitor, not only the damage to armor, that is really awesome. So, you know, check this out. First of all, it has an 𝐒𝐸𝐴𝐶 scope, which means you can zoom this in ×4, and it comes with 10% crit chance. But look at this, man, 30% critical hit damage. I haven't seen any exotic talent that gives you that much crit damage, so you're able to stack the crit really well on this weapon, and it's almost hitting for 100k damage. All right, so the secondary is the test subject. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I haven't really seen a use for this. Even though it has perfectly in sync, I thought I was gonna be able to do well with it. But if you look at it, it has no long barrel, so I can't put the technician laser on it because I was gonna plan on using this for a hybrid, and it only has 3 attachments, so it's all right. I'd rather use another weapon that has just regular in sync. The Orbit is the pistol that I have in slot, but I have not put this capacitor down no matter what secondary or pistol I use. I mean, maybe because I have Fox's Prayer knee pads, I'll use an Urban MDR to utilize the rifle damage, but I couldn't put this gun down. I mean, the fire rate, the accuracy, the stability is just beautiful. I love the way this weapon feels. Now let me get into the build, okay? And as you see, I do have the Memento backpack, and word is there's a bug going around, or an exploit, where if you destroy your skills, that skill that you destroyed acts as an enemy that you kill, so it gives you the buff from just destroying your skill. So people use a Firefly, toss it and let it get destroyed, and boom, there you go, you got your buffs. Honestly, I don't care about none of that. I use this backpack before the exploit, after the exploit. The simple fact is that it's best in slot for this build, so let's get it. The mask I'm rocking with is the Hollow Man, and I'm very fond of this mask. It's exclusive to the Dark Zone, so you go into DZ when masks are targeted loot, and if you get lucky, you can get it to drop, okay? It rolls with an armor core, and its name attribute is 10% health damage. I used this Hollow Man on my insurmountable build I made a couple weeks ago, and that build is amazing too, so check that out afterwards if you haven't. But the health damage stacks on top with the technician's damage to skills proxies and chungas and any of those enemies that have health bars. Those health bars that the dogs and chungas have is not considered armor. I say this a lot in my builds, and I'm going to say it again, that's not armor, it's health. So you're better off using something that gives you health damage, which is multiplicative as well, so you can take them out quicker. All right, so I wrote crit damage on here because this build is a mixture of crit damage, crit chance, armor damage, and health damage. That's what a true hybrid is, man. I'm not spread too thin, and I'm doing enough damage to do what I need to do. So the chest piece I got is 𝐶𝐸𝐴𝐻 for the 10% crit chance. All you need is one piece. It's God rolled across the board and has Obliterate. Obliterate is a stacking talent, so crit hits increase your total weapon damage by 1% for 5 seconds, so you can get this all the way up to 25%. And this goes really well with the capacitor because the capacitor is also a stacking talent. You do well if you hit your shots. Now the holster is specifically for the assault rifle damage, 10% more for my capacitor. God rolled across the board. Backpack, Memento. As I said, I don't care what exploit is going around. Eventually they'll fix it. When is there not an exploit or a bug, right? But this gives me 15% extra weapon damage based on the fact that I have 3 reds, and so that stacks on top of the 22.5% that I get from the capacitor. All right, I get some bonus armor because I'm at 1.2 million armor, and the skill efficiency helps as well. And this build is best used in the DZ. I mean, I used it in a heroic mission on Lincoln Memorial. I was still shredding enemies. I used it and the DZ on landmarks, but it was like nothing else when I was chasing those rogues, man. And I'm gonna tell you what's special about this build as a whole when I get to the skills. All right, so the gloves I'm using are the contractors, mainly to stack on top of the 12% potential that you can get on the capacitor, which gives you 20% damage to armor. You can't get that anywhere else on any AR build. That's why it's so special, and I think that's why it hits so hard. Even though I'm sacrificing a little bit of crit chance, it's worth it for the multiplicative damage to armor you get, including the multiplicative damage to targets out of cover that I'm getting on my Fox's Prayer. Rolled to skill tier just so I can have that magic number of 3 tiers. With the optimization station, I'm gonna get this up to 12%, so I'm not worried about it. Now, the skills. I don't care what you say, man. This has to be best in slot for combat tactics in PvP. Now, the funny thing is, all right, people on YouTube, okay, some YouTubers are saying now, this is cheese, right? They're saying, why do you have to stagger me? What are you talking about, man? Back in the day, okay, a couple patches back when the Crusader shield was super meta, I think it was when Firewall came out, was when Crusader shield just became crazy. Everybody used it. Everybody still uses it. It's like a crutch, right? They gotta use it. So I decided to, come out with a combat tactics video describing how you can dismantle anybody using the Crusader shield and just destroy them, because you shoot this on the ground next to them, you shoot it on them, it's going to stagger them, leaving them open for attack, which is counterplay in essence, right? So now, because it's so effective, first of all, it's used on me a lot, and because it's so effective, now what? It became cheese? Please don't play that card. Okay, something is used in an effective way that's not allowing you to be successful. So that's just the way it is, and I'm going to continue using this for as long as people are using those shields. And the fact that the capacitor increases your skill damage, the EMP sticky bomb still does skill damage. It just doesn't do skill damage to your enemy's armor or health, but it does skill damage to their skills. So this increases the EMP's skill damage by 60%. The second skill I'm rocking with oh my goodness, I need a minute because this is too much right here. And I'm about to tell you why. I made a build called Seek and Destroy. It was a pure skill build, right? It was the first build I dropped on TU12, and it's amazing. All right, it's pretty OP, and I said I was going to bring it into PvP, right? I tried it in PvP, but it didn't work out because you need a team. You need to sit back and shoot these clouds from a distance. It just didn't work out, and I didn't have the patience to try and make it work, right? But for this build, it fits like a glove. All right, now I'm at 3 skill tiers, right? It gives me extra 60% radius, 3 ammo, more duration, 30% more damage. If you look down, each tier gives you an extra 10% damage. When you get to overcharge, it gives you 80%. How much is that? 50%, right? The capacitor gives you 60% skill damage if you get 40 stacks. Now that AR has 40 rounds in the magazine, so if you can one clip somebody and hit all your shots, you're at 60% skill damage. That's 10% more than an overcharge. That is insane. That's nuts. You can't tell me that's not crazy, man. You can overcharge without even having to worry about doing it, but being in the zone. All you gotta do is be in the zone. And I have 5 ammo, and the cooldown, it doesn't really matter because it gives you what you need for the fight that you're in. Now, when I was fighting those rogues, if you don't play PvP, then you don't really know some of the tactics that people use against you in order to gain an advantage. Now, the advantage that most people do, and it's a very popular one, is that they lead you down a corridor where there's little to no cover, and once they get to the end of the corridor, when you're chasing them, they gun you down, right? It's a very good strategy, but this build and this skill is allowing me to disrupt that and just get them out of their comfort zone. Okay, I will shoot this on the cover where they're at on the end of the corridor. He jumps back, I shoot another one, I shoot another one, I shoot more, and I just permeate that whole area with the Oxidizer's Cloud so they get out of that area, which gives my team the opportunity to advance forward, taking the spot that they had. Then we killed that guy, right? We kill another one, and then they keep running, and then we kill another one to the point where there's just one left. And you know how manhunts do. When there's one left, they just start running until their teammates respawn, and then they buy the manhunt off. But if you notice, the whole time I was chasing them, I was disrupting what they were doing, separating them, throwing their strategies off. And that in essence is a hybrid, man. Being able to adapt, do whatever you need to do to gain the advantage in combat, which is why hybrids are my favorite type of builds. Look, man, if this build is getting you hyped right now, comment lit down below. Let me know what you think about it, okay? And that's all I gotta say about this build. I make builds from DPS all the way to skill, and if you haven't already, please drop a like and don't hesitate to subscribe, man. Hit that subscribe button right now. You will not regret it, and I'd love to have you join the family. And until I see you in my next video, be right out.